Living Power with Dan Hurst.
I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory. So God reveals himself, his presence, two ways in your life. One is through nature and one is through worship. And if you're not enjoying those, you're missing out on the glory of God, the presence of God. Now that doesn't mean that God isn't at work in your life. He is at work in your life. But for you to recognize and understand the glory, the revealed presence of God, you need those things in your life. And you have permission from the Word of God to seek that. It's there for you. Well, how do we miss God's glory? What happens in our life? What is it that happens that causes us to miss the revelation of God's presence in our lives? Well, there are basically three things that happen. First of all, we begin to think of God's glory as a feeling. Wow, I really felt the presence of God there today. Really? That's what it was? It was a feeling? I'm not saying there isn't a feeling involved. Oftentimes there is a feeling involved. But we define it and we think of God's glory as just a feeling. Wow, I feel great because it's the presence of God. I feel the presence of God. Psalm 115:1 identifies that, says, look, not to us, O Lord, it's not to us, but to your name give glory. It's not about what I feel, it's about your name, Lord. It's about you. Not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory for the sake of your steadfast love and your faithfulness. Now, listen on those two words. God's glory, listen to this, God's glory reveals his love and his faithfulness. That's what it does. When God reveals his presence, he reveals his love and his faithfulness. It's about a relationship built on that. Now, there may be a sense, there may be a feeling involved in that, but it's more than the feeling. Instead of focusing on how God's presence makes me feel, I need to be focusing on how my presence makes God feel. Instead of focusing on how God's presence makes you feel, how about thinking about how your presence makes God feel? Because do you come before God clean and pure and right, or has your life embarrassed him, offended him? How do you make God feel? It's not to us, O Lord, but to your name give glory.